my mum, and she went into service, I think, like at the hospital. I think she was in the hospital and various other jobs. And my dad, who'd come out in the early 50s, I think 1950, and spent a bit of time in Melbourne and then out back Queensland, and ended up on the railways and was working in Sunnybank, where we grew up. And I think he ended up working at a Queensland Spring and Fibro, but I never fully understood what Daddy was saying there. But that's where a friend of his worked, a guy called Stan, and my mother had come up with Dorothy, and Stan and Dorothy were married, and so Stan brought my dad along to a meeting, I guess, and Dorothy brought my mum along to a meeting, and they met that way. My elder brother, Liam, was born in 1962. Calista was born in 1964. Myself was 1965. And then Bertie came into the family. Trisha came into the family in 1969. Ireland, you know, my dad he left when it was in severe recession in the 50s and post-war, where everyone, well, basically everything was down and everyone was shipping out to the new world. And then I'm not sure what state it was in the 60s. I don't think it was any better, and certainly the 70s and the 80s was awful. So there probably would never have been any serious thought of going back there. I went back, Calista and I went over in 84. I actually left school. I was finishing year 12 and got on a plane the next day. I didn't even go to my graduation. I got on a plane and flew out, and then I can recall landing in Dublin. What a strange kind of a place, and the weather was just abysmal. And I can remember getting, God, how did we? I can't even recall how we got to Donegal. We must have got a bus. I think we must have got a bus to Donegal from Dublin, which would be a 5-hour windy road. And then I landed in Donegal, which was like the moon. It was the rarest place. It was out the back of Donegal with windy roads and moors, just peat moors, like bogland. My parents came to visit while I was there, and that was 1985, and my mother had never been on a plane until that point, but she missed her boy. So they came to visit, and I guess that planted the seed at that point there. The house was vacant, and they were approaching retirement. They were approaching retirement just in 3-4 years down the track. And then, so that was always the plan for those few years there, for them to go back.